Okay, Ken Salter here. This is my black glass, early black glass collection. Starting on the left here, we have a grouping of 18th century wine bottles from northern France, the border of Switzerland, and from Belgium and Holland. Okay, we're now looking at a applied seal that's dated 1669. It's German, and it depicts three 18th century, or actually 17th century German bottles. It's very rare. I dug it with my friend Jürgen Behrens in Germany. What we did is we went back to the where the glass houses and huts were, and when the farmers turned over the land, we looked for seals that were left. And this is one of those very rare special seals that goes with the collection. Unique, probably. On the right, we have a collection of, they're called flat-sided 18th century kidney-shaped bottles and globular European bottles. The big one on the left is Swedish. The big kidney is a German kidney, and probably the rarest here, which I call Mama, Papa, and the kids, are the miniatures. These were sample bottles, basically, that merchants sent to have a store stock their wares. Okay, looking at the little showcase, which I've entitled 17th Century Genesis and Form. In the middle, the two middle bottles are half-size chaff and globe bottles. These bottles were dug, and what I've tried to do is show you then the evolution of the form of that bottle as it changed from the longer neck to the shorter neck, as it took on a globular form, and this basically is what's happening in the next two segments of the showcase that we're going to see. Okay, on this second row, we have, now these are very early 18th century, some of them actually bridging the 17th century in terms of form. These are wine bottles. The one starting on the left, you'll notice, has a blued texture. This is quite desirable to us collectors because it's rare. There was some impurities in the glass when the glass was blown. And furthermore, you notice the elongated shape. That tells you the crudeness of the blowing. It didn't come out perfectly round. And then in the middle we have a couple of, now these are utility bottles. They were, that flat form is very convenient for the early sailing ships of the 18th century, so that they wouldn't slide off the dinner table, or when the ship started to rock and roll, they could, their center of gravity was as best as could be for these bottles. So they contained rum, English whiskey, port and Madeira wines, and even as England controlled parts of France and Burgundy, even some of the good French wines. Now these are all half-size bottles, and that's the specialty of my collection. The bottles also exist, as we saw in the first European wine bottles, in much larger bottles. And again, most of these bottles were dug, and it's just, you can see the variation in form, and that's really all I'm trying to show you. That these are our earliest bottles from America. Many of them are foreign make, but most of them actually retrieved here. There was no way of refilling them off the boat, so they just dumped them into the river. They went into the river muds, and with the river muds, eventually, that's what protected them. Although for every single bottle that we've been able to find, there's probably 50 that I've seen that are broken coming out of the digs. Okay, now we're
I'm sorry.
on the third row of the
long arms.
these are also
Let me take a look.
all early 18th century bottles. They're half-size bottles, just as we saw in the previous row. From a collector's standpoint, the rarest bottles are the smallest bottles in the same form and of the same date. So while I have the larger ones, I decided for this show to bring you the half-size bottles, which you won't see as often as you might see the larger bottles. On the left, we have, again, a European wine. The two middle bottles were dug up, and it was hard bargaining to get them. But they're also the standard English utility bottle. It could have held any kind of liquor. And the bottle, the fourth bottle on the far right, again, as we saw in our earlier look, this is a transitional form bottle where we're moving from the globular to the mallet form.